Hey everybody, today I'm going to rescue this very crooked and leaning panicle hydrangea. It arrived to us from another grower this way a couple months ago, and it's been on the to-do list to get this thing transplanted into a pot where we can get it back into its kind of upright position and growing properly. Fortunately, panicle hydrangeas are very resilient, so for us to be able to do this, it's not going to be too bad. Plant's not going to be too upset with us, and by next season we should be able to get it into a spot where it's going to actually be looking like normal. You probably wouldn't even know that it was like this. To do it, first thing I want to do is look specifically at how this one main trunk is growing. Ideally, this main trunk would be upright, and that's what I'm going to try to achieve. It might still be a little bit crooked, but we definitely don't want it leaning like this. It just makes it too hard for planting. It's going to always be a little wonky. So today I'm planting it into a grow bag, but the kind of principles of transplanting this are the same whether you're putting it in the ground or into a pot or whatever you're doing with it. So I've got some soil in here already, and I'm going to just kind of make some room. And what I like to do is I use my pot as kind of my guide when I'm doing this before I take the plant out of the pot, just because it kind of puts a little less stress on it. Now the big thing is I want to make sure that the central stem is centered in my grow bag or in the spot that I'm planting it in the yard. So I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. And what I'm going to end up doing, this is going to be trickier than I thought, just because this is an extreme kind of lean. It's really disappointing to get stuff like this, but I think this is going to be good enough. I can work with it this way, so I'm going to just pop it out. Ugh. Now, a lot of times I'd put more soil in and kind of make my hole a little more fitting for the piece. Oops, those are rice hulls. So this one has lots of roots. A lot of people are going to ask if they should rough up the roots. I generally don't, simply because I find that when the roots are like this, they're going to just go to where the good soil is. So unless it's really, really root bound, and this is, I mean, it definitely needs a transplant, but definitely not too bad. So now my goal is I'm going to actually work these roots out. I'm going to probably just tear some off because this edge here is going to need to kind of be above the soil level. Again, hydrangeas tend to be, at least panicle hydrangeas tend to be pretty resilient. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that like this spot right here where this hydrangea meets the ground is kind of good. I don't want to tear this up too much. I got to be careful with that. But this is going to be fine, what I'm doing right here. So now what I've got to do is try to get more soil in, and it is not centered though, is it? So we're going to have to do some work. This is going to be a little bit fussy. So let's get more. I want to move it even more over because I am desperately trying to get it centered in there. I think I'm going to look at it from a couple different angles. I think this is as good as I'm going to get. I'm going to kind of adjust it here. I think I could be happy with that. And then I got more soil. So now I'm going to fill it in. And on the side that's down, I'm going to have to put more soil in. Side that's up, I'm just going to cover those roots on this side here and then try to level it off. So let's see what I can do here. So I am going to pack this in pretty tight, and I did pre-moisten my soil a little bit because our soil was really quite dry today. It was an open bag, so it was a little bit drier than I would have wanted. So I added a little bit of water before I started this whole project. And this is a 15-gallon grow bag. I use these kind for in the driveway, back along the driveway, as kind of display hydrangeas that we can then sell. Makes it easy for us to be able to move them around, for people to take them home. If you have the option of planting it in the ground or in a grow bag, I would always recommend planting it into the ground rather than a grow bag. But they can handle living in kind of a grow bag like this. They go down to zone 3. So a zone 3 plant in our area, we're in northern Michigan, we're right on the border of zone 4 and 5, but panicle hydrangeas have always done pretty well for us in the grow bags. However, it does shorten their lifespan a little bit, we found. So again, if you can put it in the ground, go ahead and do that. Now it's mid-September and we're kind of on the border between zones 4 and 5. And so at this time, I'm not going to give it any fertilizer, and I'm also not going to do any pruning until the plant goes dormant. And that's kind of important because right now I don't want to trim it back while it still has several weeks before the ground freezes or before we have hard frost, because I want it to spend its time developing some more roots and kind of getting into this soil rather than having to produce more leaves. So right now we're just going to give it a little bit of water. We're not going to overwater it. We just want to keep that soil nice and moist so that those roots are going to be really encouraged to grow outward, and just leave it alone. Don't do anything special with it. Then once it goes dormant, then I'm going to trim it back. Now normally when I'm trimming a panicle hydrangea like this, I would probably be doing kind of just along this area here and cutting all that back. But because of these kind of arching branches going all in one direction, because it's been this way for such a long time, I'm going to give it a really hard prune. And so that means I'm going to be cutting it back. I'm going to look at where it was cut last year and cut really close to that, or maybe even a little bit lower. It's interesting because panicle hydrangeas can recover from that kind of thing. But again, I'm going to do that right now, or not right now, rather when it's dormant, or I could wait until springtime. If I was doing this project, say in May or June, I would also do the hard prune at that time because it would have plenty of time to produce new leaves, new branches. It would even flower later on in the season as well. It'd be a little bit behind the other hydrangeas possibly, but chances are it would, you wouldn't even know by the end of the season. So again, this time of year, once we get more into July, August, September, we don't want to do that really hard prune until the plant is dormant. So that's going to vary depending on where you are. And then, we're going to do that hard prune later. And I see there is kind of like a cross branch here. This one is crossing over these other plants, so I'm also going to cut that. But again, not going to really worry about any of the hard pruning until we get into after the freeze and after the leaves fall off. I'm probably going to get rid of this branch here. I feel like it's just kind of pointing out. It's not going quite the way I want it to. I want it to be a little bit more base shaped. So this one's going to go away. This one's going to go away. And hopefully, we're going to really notice next season, because, it's only going to be coming from here. All that new growth is going to come out from over here, and we're going to have kind of a corrected, normal looking hydrangea. You probably won't even know that this one was in this condition next year. So that's really good news. And again, I'm working with a panicle hydrangea. This isn't a macrophylla, which are the blue or the pink ones. This isn't one of the ball ones like an Annabelle or an Incrediball or anything like that. This is a panicle one with these white blooms that turn pink over time. So I gotta say, I'm happy that we were able to rescue this, but I'm disappointed that it wasn't caught sooner, because we wouldn't have to do quite as much of a hard prune and the plant would be farther along. But panicle hydrangeas catch up quick, so that's the good news. I'll see you guys all very, very soon.